All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our fireside chat here today with us at HubSpot. Today, we'll be discussing about the topic things you wish you knew before you started your career. And joining me today is my lovely panelists, Abby, Ayush, and Nick. You guys want to just shortly introduce yourself, what your background is, what you're currently studying, if you're still studying, and your current role at HubSpot? We can start off with you, Abby.
Awesome. Sounds good. So yeah, I'm Abby. My name's Abby Wee. I'm from New Jersey and I'm currently a student at Northeastern University in Boston. I'm studying business with a concentration in marketing and minors in business analytics and strategy. And at HubSpot, I'm currently on the platform marketing team, and that team is on the broader partnerships marketing team. And it's great to be here. Thank you.
Right. Hi everyone, I'm Ayush Sharma and I'm from India. I live in Saarbrücken, Germany, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in media informatics in University of Saarland. I'm working in HubSpot as a software engineer co-op, and my team has a big name, Mobile Backend Foundation's middleware team, and we are looking for a short name for that. So yeah, this is me.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Bergman. I'm an associate recruiter on the emerging talent team, focusing on university recruiting. I'm a recent graduate of Morehouse College, graduating just this May 2022, and I got my degree in sociology with a minor in communications. And I'm from
Nice.
Waldorf, Maryland. Excuse me.
Cool, a nice mix of different kind of backgrounds and different kind of studies. So HubSpot is a hybrid company that allows employees to work from home, in office, flex anywhere they want, as long as we have a location there. So for example, I'm working from Munich, Germany, completely remotely. I'm curious, where is everybody joining in from today, and what work option did you pick out? Nick, do you want to continue?
Thank you for that. I actually work currently fully remote in Atlanta, Georgia.
I can go next. I'm currently home in my Boston apartment today, but at HubSpot, I'm a flex employee actually. So I also go into the Cambridge office. I decided to do that because I wanted to kind of switch it up from my first two co-ops where I experienced fully in person and then I experienced fully remote. So now I've gotten to be flex.
Okay, I'm left. I'm working from my home in the comfort of my blanket in Saarbrücken, Germany. And I really like work from home, but I also get a chance to visit Berlin office for 2-3 days as a part of co-op day. And I also met Vanessa there. And it was
Yay.
working in office as well for 2-3 days, but work from home is best for me for now.
Nice. I definitely can agree with the blanket situation, especially since it's getting really, really cold now in Germany as well. So you guys have been here for a few months now. Is there anything, or like, tell me how different is this to how different or how you would have imagined your working experience to be like? Ayush, do you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. So before joining, I had a thought. Like this, that I have to work overtime, or maybe there would be hard deadlines that I have to meet, and there would be strict people there in the team. But that blew my bubble, and everything was so smooth. After joining HubSpot, it was totally a different experience. I mean, one of the best work culture, I must say, it is there in HubSpot, and I really enjoy the work I'm doing. Plus the people, the team lead, they are super helpful and super experienced people. I think there are no work pressure I take, as this I learned from my team, because everything is totally aligned as per the plan. And I think it's totally a place to work in.
I think kind of going off of my last answer about being flex, I really didn't know what that was going to be like. I also didn't know what it was going to be like being at a much bigger company than my previous two roles. And that combined with going back into an office after the pandemic. And I think it was honestly like hard at first and definitely an adjustment. But being at HubSpot, I feel like is one of the best opportunities to have that adjustment, because it's been really nice to be able to connect with people in ways that I didn't necessarily expect, like through common interests in Slack channels and just random events that we have, but then in also the more typical ways through like running into people in the office. So that was like a surprise to me, but it showed me that it's possible to build connection even remotely and also even in a large company.
And I actually love that you said that, Abby, because for myself, I'm a fully remote worker, working out of Atlanta, and it was an experience that I was very nervous going into, thinking it was going to be a very hard time building connections, making friends. But after like getting into the virtual office, and communicating with different people via Slack and email, it's like, oh, we can build relationships, even though we're not in the same room or not in the same state for some cases. Um, and then another thing that I would like to say was I was very nervous of failing, not necessarily like failing out completely, but just like messing up. But I think HubSpot is a great place. If you're going to mess up, HubSpot's the place to mess up because there's so many individuals to lift you up, also to pat you on the back when you're down and say, it's okay, like stay down there for a second and then get up and keep going. So that was for me.
Nice. I can definitely agree with that point as well. Like, I think like I love the way that HubSpot doesn't see failures as failures, but they see more of like failures as learnings or like challenges for you to grow in as well. And that's like one of my favorite things about it, because for me, like learning and development is like an important key in my career steps as well. So that is really helpful to help me grow into like a better self of mine. All right, so next question is like, what was there like anything you learned in school that was about work life that was really helpful and useful for you entering into your internships and also your associate role? Abby, do you want to start?
Sure. I think in terms of thinking about like what you learn in school about work and work life and then how that actually applies, like it can be useful to a certain extent, but I think you also have to remember, or at least what I've realized, is that every company is different and every team is different. And I think one of the most important things for finding like a good work-life balance and for finding an environment, a work environment that you'll enjoy and be successful in is like finding a team that supports you. And that can take like multiple tries, and that's okay. But something I also, again, this might not be an exact answer for the question, but I feel like in terms of what you learn about in school about work and work life, I've realized that in my like time as a current student and also on the 3 co-ops that I've completed as a student, even just over those like past 3-ish years, the professional landscape is always changing, like constantly, especially like depending on your industry. So I think that's always important to keep in mind with what you may be learning in school or outside of just like work. And then an example is I think things have gotten honestly like a lot more casual, even just in like the past 3 years. Obviously, that's partly due to the nature of the pandemic and the effects that's had on working remotely and things like that. But also, I think we were going in that direction anyway. And each of my different co-ops, I've just had to basically learn and adjust in the moment at each company. So it's great to learn things in school or your classes or wherever you are learning, but being able to be adaptable and adjust in the moment is also definitely valuable.
Yeah, I can totally agree with Abby. Plus, adding to that, for me, studies or the student life taught me how to manage my work and life, like work and personal life separately, and that is pretty useful here as well in HubSpot. And at HubSpot also, it gives good time to be you apart from just work. And yeah, I got to manage. I got to learn about how can I manage my time as a bit depending on my workload. So yeah, it's plus it's far easier to just live the practical life of as working, and instead of just like taking a bookish knowledge and just applying it. So it is far better.
Yeah, I agree with you both. I think when it comes to thinking about how you operate for your work-life balance, you kind of have to play around with it, get in there. You can take whatever advice everyone gives you, but at the end of the day, it's kind of going to be what you need, and what your company needs. So just kind of take that as you can. You can only prepare so much, but when it comes to in school, obviously those organizational skills are something that I greatly appreciated. And then kind of like something funny, I was a sociology major, so I did a lot of research. And now being a recruiter, when I'm like stalking people's LinkedIn pages, it makes it very easy for me to pinpoint what I'm looking for because I've learned how to research text effectively. So that was just something funny that I wanted to add.
Cool. That's really funny. Like I love like that those like transferable skills into the work environment that you didn't think that would be helpful, would be necessary as well. And speaking of advice, like Nick, you touched on that briefly. What's one thing you wish someone would have told you before starting your first job? You can continue on.
Gotcha. I think someone actually did tell me this when I started my internship at HubSpot, and it was something that I tell every individual and candidate that I talk to. So I have to share it. But it's take up the space that you're in. You got to this place for a reason. You got through the interview process. You signed the offer letter. You're here. We value your opinion. We value your experience. So when you're in that room, don't be afraid to speak up. Even if you're nervous, again, fall face down. But as long as you spoke up about your idea, that's all that matters. So I wish I would have took that more aggressively and ran with it.
I can share for this. I think something I really do wish that someone had told me before I started my first job is kind of the basic idea of like how important it is to be a human, even when you're at work, like building personal connection and just being real. Like this can have such an impact on not only your work, but also like how others feel working with you, which is a big part of your work too. So that's something I've learned over time and continue to try to remind myself and also tell others now too, sort of like what Nick was saying. But work isn't all about just the work. I think if you try to put all your energy into doing everything like the most efficient way and like just getting everything done super quickly and you don't care as much about your working relationships, then you might get stuff done in the short term, but that's not sustainable for the long term. And that's definitely something I've learned and continue to learn over time.
Yeah, for me, in the beginning, I was afraid to put up my opinions on the table while I was in meetings, and that was a little tough for me. And I wish someone would have told me, like, stay confident, go for it. They are not gonna eat you. So that is one advice that someone must have told me. But after some time, the whole environment was so comfortable. Everyone was so accepting with your own culture. So I really appreciate that thing.
Definitely. I definitely agree with all you guys as well. And one thing, like from my own point of view, as someone who started directly after uni, taking a break is really necessary. Like between like the uni and full-time work time, you should actually like take a break like 1 to 2 weeks, just like clear your mind and not start directly after the last day of your exam, because I realized like how much stress you actually brought over from like the exam period as well. So that's definitely one advice I would give as well. And like with things like going on social media, like social media is like a main thing for all of us nowadays, right? So, and there's a lot of content because of COVID and because of like the work from home kind of environment. There's a lot of content going on regarding like bad working environments, colleagues and bosses without boundaries. Did this kind of like scare you guys in joining like a big corporation kind of life or like work life in general? Ayush, you want to start off?
Yeah, totally. I also came across with content like this where the boss is an evil dude, and but the reality is totally like different. I mean, it's never like that. The boss has two horns, no. But yeah, I must say, like, I've got the best team lead, and team leads are your best buddies, especially in HubSpot. I experienced that, and they're always there for you to guide you with your problems, work related or maybe personal. So it's best to take those contents just as entertainment and make opinions based on your true experience or real life experience. So that's what I can suggest.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that a lot of that content is probably made for entertainment. I may not be as familiar with like the more dramatic content, but I would say if you see something that you think is like more realistic and actually concerns you, like just remember that every company is different. I think Maybe unfortunately some people do have like bad career or company or boss experiences, but don't be afraid that because of that those things are going to happen to you, because that's definitely not going to be true everywhere. And if you do feel like a place is maybe a bad situation or environment for you, like just trust your gut and know yourself in that. And if you're in an interview process, like you can choose to not move forward with that. If you're in a current position, just remember that you can change, you're not stuck anywhere. And if you ever do feel like you're in that, then yeah, you can, don't feel like you have to stay in that forever.
I think when talking about like those bad situations or tough situations, social media has almost helped me navigate them. So I'm like during the pandemic, there's been like a lot of surging with like professionals making videos about how to deal with this type of conversation or how to deal with like negotiating, all those different things. So even though I haven't ran into all of those events, I know when they'll face me, I'll have at least a sprinkle of context, and I'll be able to say like, I saw this on TikTok, so you can't say this to me, even if like I don't know. But I think looking at it from a positive lens, it's been a lot on social media, but it also has been a lot of great things as well.
Nice. Definitely. There are positive and negative sides to social media as well. But like, what are some advices if you see, like on LinkedIn, for example, that somebody wrote something negative about this company, but like the student has been going through a rather positive interview experience with the recruiter, how would you recommend for them to find out what's real and what's not from this social media post, so to say? Nick, you can continue. As a recruiter, maybe you have a great advice on this as well.
Yeah, as a recruiter, the number one thing that a candidate should be doing if they have any worries is talking to other individuals who work for the company. It's okay to be a stalker on LinkedIn and go and see who works for the company, who's in the department that you want to work on, and send them a quick message, especially if you're talking to someone from HubSpot. We do not bite. We would love to talk and conversate and share our experience. So number one, whether it's HubSpot or anywhere else, and you see any bad things, just obviously, well, YouTube first, because YouTube has all the answers. Then you jump in those messages and talk to some people.
Yeah, I would plus one that definitely. Just realistically think about it. If you like reach out to someone and they're at a company that's like terrible and they hate it, like they probably would be willing to tell you that, or at least hint to you that in some capacity. Like they wouldn't want to like subject other people to that. And on the flip side, like if they're in a company they absolutely love, like they're going to be happy to share that quickly with you as well. And then again, like this is advice that I've gotten recently and I think is just important to pass on. Just like trust your gut. Like if something is definitely feeling off to you, then like you don't have to go forward in that process. But if everything's feeling great to you and it's just like other people getting in your head from their experiences, then also trust that and be like, I know that this is feeling good to me. I like the process and the team and whatever, then you can feel confident in that.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. It's good to take the opinions of other people who have already worked there. It's better to learn from their mistakes than making the same mistake again. And it's not about the mistake only, but getting the experience from other people definitely helps us making the decision. But yeah, I can agree with Abby. It's more or less the gut feeling that we should go for.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of like gut feelings and also like going through all these different experiences, is there any regrets or do you guys have anything that you wish you would have done before starting your full-time job, your internships and so on? Ayush, do you want to take a go?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I regretted about is the thing you called out, Vanessa, was taking a break between studies and the work, which I totally regret in the beginning because it was really 1 or 2 days gap between my last exam and my work. So I think yeah, break is really important to take. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'll say something pretty similar to that. Again, I've been getting this advice recently as I'm going into my last semester of school and then graduating, but just like enjoy college, enjoy wherever you are at in time before you're like starting your career. Don't be too worried about career and internships and all of that or your first job, because you have, again, this all like kind of goes together, but you have a whole life ahead of you to like make different choices, change your mind, do different things. And so you don't have to have it all figured out like all at once. I definitely don't. And as long as you're like thinking about things, putting some level of effort in, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this fireside chat, you'll be fine. And there's no need to have everything like 100% planned out because things will change. So just take breaks when you need it, take the time to enjoy where you're at in life, apart from work too.
+1 to all of that. And special shout out to the break between your start date. I took a month break and I have to say it was the best decision I ever did. So listen to them, take that break. But for myself, I think one of the biggest things that my biggest regret would be not taking the risk. As I mentioned earlier, I am a fully remote employee. I graduated in Atlanta and I'm currently working in Atlanta. Sometimes I do wonder how my HubSpot experience would have been if I would have taken a chance and relocated to Cambridge, where our headquarters is, just to test it. Even if I was a flex employee, I would love to see that. But the great thing about HubSpot is I can change my mind at any time and make that change. So yeah, that was all for me.
Definitely. I think life is all about risk taking and just trial and error, right? Because it's all about learning what suits you best as well. And one final question from my end: what advice would you give those who are graduating soon and applying for roles? What's any tips and tricks here as well? Abby, you want to start off?
Sure, yeah. I'll take my opportunity in the like starting spot to kind of give a very quick advice and then a longer advice also. My quick favorite advice that I've ever gotten is don't take advice from someone who you would not want to trade places with. And I think that's been so important to me over my years of college and like career searching and things like that, because you're always having little coffee chats or like various networking opportunities where you're talking to people and you're just going to hear a million things they did, their advice for you so many times from so many different people. And it's really helped me to narrow down all of that and to be like, I think I actually would want to be in a position like this person is in. So let me take that advice and maybe not feel so strongly about other advice that I'm getting. And then my longer advice is something that's like my favorite thing to tell people who are maybe like a few years younger than me and looking to the future of like their career or looking at their like first co-op at Northeastern or something like that. But I've experienced in, again, like different networking or coffee chat type of things, just working in different companies, it can often seem like people have had a perfect career path and that they went from one place and then they learned XYZ about themselves. And so they decided to go here and try something new. And then they actually discovered they had this strength. And so they went to this place and tried this. And then they did something else because that made sense for them. And it's like, wow, they had this like perfect path. And it can make you really nervous about choosing the exact right job or making the perfect decision for yourself. And something I learned when I was actually talking to the CMO at my last company is basically what he told me is there's actually like no wrong career decisions. You will always learn wherever you go, and that is what's going to help you make the next decision for your next step. Everything that you do is just like one step on your path, and don't feel like you have to know exactly what you're doing at each step of the way, because no matter what you do, you're going to learn. And that's the most important thing, because that's going to inform what you do next and the next decision you make. So you can choose what to do and where to go. And again, you're never stuck in one place. It's always just one step.
Yeah, totally. That's a great advice, Abby. For me, I think of internships, co-ops, or part-time jobs are really good for someone who is recently graduating and starting their career, because it's the best way to find the best place to work for you. Because if my experience as working in HubSpot as a co-op, I see I've been treated as a full-time employee, not as an intern or co-op. So people really don't ask me to bring coffee as a intern thing. But yeah, I'm totally treated as an equal employee, given equal responsibilities as any other team member. That definitely helps me to learn more about the company, the project that I'm working on. Plus, I feel like I'm the part of the company and I'm impacting the customers. And also there are a lot of resources about applying to and for interviews and other processes. So there are plenty of stuff on the internet that can help you to learn for free as well, for free of course. And the advice would be, I mean, trust the process, because everything is just adding up to your list. Yeah.
Not exactly sure how I'm going to follow after those two. But number one, I want to double down on the just going for it. Kind of, you don't have to know where the end goal is. You don't have to know where the finish line is. Kind of just go and work. Because to be fully transparent, I myself personally have no idea what's next. I have no idea, and that's okay. You just kind of go. And then my second piece of advice would be, don't limit yourself in all the roles and positions that you're interested in. Obviously, be smart, be intentional, apply to what you think you will be great at. But in that, don't just apply to all the marketing or apply to all of this. If you want to do something in entertainment, take the chance, apply, make a different resume, a different cover letter for that role, but apply, take the chance. It doesn't hurt you. Those 5 minutes could change your life. So that's all for me.
These advice are giving me goosebumps, guys. Those are like really great advice, and I wish I had that when I was graduating and I watched something like this before. But those are really good advice, and those are all of our questions for today. So thanks everyone for joining in. I hope this was a helpful session for you, and thanks to our lovely panelists for giving the time and also sharing their ideas and answers as well. We really appreciate it. So follow us here on HubSpot Live for more content like this regarding like graduation, what to do after uni and things like that as well. Just tips and tricks for interviews. We're doing more content like this, or on TikTok under Student Spot, because we're also doing quick tips and tricks to help you go through your career and your work life. And for that, we would like to say good night and have a great day. Bye, everyone.